Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you all doing out there? I hope everybody's safe and I hope everybody's good. I'm Sayuri and I'm back. I could do a long introduction for the new viewers and I could go through all of everything that I am, everything that I bring to the table. But if you would check out my earlier lives, you'll find out on there who I am and exactly what I do. But I will say I'm a three-time published author on Amazon, BarnesandNobles.com, AuthorHouse.com, and Westwood Books. And my talks are tight. I got to warn you, but they're right, though. So I hope you can stand the rain. Okay, let's get started today. All right. And let me point out this is not a bashing session. It's never a bashing session. Everything is done for correction. I had to be corrected in life. I got to a point, we could all talk about I was an angry person, I was a this, I was a that, and another until I came to the realization that that wasn't working for me, okay, and wasn't working for my future. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This is not a bashing session. This is a session for enlightenment, okay? And the first thing we're going to start out with today, because I told you we're going to talk about a number of things on here. Yes, I'm an advocate against domestic violence. I have almost 20 years experience in that. And I'm a writer, an author, and a bunch of other things. But more than that, I'm a realist and I'm compassionate for people because I love human beings. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. So today, let's talk about the number one biggest sin. And people think that this is not so, but read your Bible. Jealousy. There's not many things that God says he hates and that he won't forgive. But jealousy, he said he hates. That makes it on top of other things. He hates jealousy because many sins come out of jealousy. Okay. Jealousy as cruel as death and the grave. This is what you are selling when you're jealous. You're selling death and the grave because you're trying to put somebody under because you can't be them. And that's a shame. Okay. A most vehement flame. Okay. So many things, sin, if you will, come out of jealousy, envy, strife, animosities, even murders, which you always gonna pay for. So don't think you're gonna murder somebody and go off tipping into the tulips. It doesn't work like that, baby. What you gave out is coming back to you, and it's coming back 7 times worse than what you did. So nobody ever gets away with anything. You should never forget that. Because people think they get away. Oh, I did that last year and ain't nothing happened. I did that 6 months ago and ain't nothing happened. But know what? It's coming. It's coming. Just tarry for it because it's coming. Nobody ever gets away with anything. And so don't let the Joneses fool you or whatever they say. And then next we're going to talk about the competitive spirit, not accepting one's own value. A competitive person doesn't value themselves. Otherwise, they wouldn't be competitive. Okay. So, not accepting one's own value, but converting someone else's experiences and trying to outdo them categorically, an evil act against someone. This is evil, people. I tell you, I went to the Holiday Inn. You're going to tell me you went to the Waldorf. I tell you, I went to Florida. You're going to say you went to Dubai. You in competition with everything I say, or everything I say, you got to do it better. or everything you said, they got to do it better than the way you did it. Be careful of a person with a competitive spirit. They're not accepting their own value in life. And if they don't value themselves, I don't know how safe they are to be around, to be honest with you. Okay. This is an evil act against someone looking outwardly to undermine instead of looking inwardly. Okay? Looking outwardly instead of looking inwardly to improve on your own gifts and talents. Stop trying to be somebody that God didn't make you. Stop trying to be somebody else. Be yourself. You got gifts. You got smarts. You're creative. There's a lot of things about you that you haven't discovered. And know why you haven't discovered them? Because you're too busy trying to be somebody else instead of being who God made you, which I think that might be a little sin. I got to look that up. Because I think it's not a good thing to not be happy with who God made you. You ever heard take lemon and make lemonades? Take bricks and build a castle? You don't need to be nobody else. Be your authentic self and be glad who God made you. And if you get out of looking at other people's gifts and talents and what they doing and seek out your own, you won't have time to be trying to worry about what they doing. That means you don't value yourself when you always worried about they, them, her, him, instead of worrying about you. Then we're going to move on to lasciviousness. Lasciviousness. This is a word that's not commonly used, but it's got a deep meaning. It's almost like what Prince said about getting the big disease with a little name. You know, HIV is a little name, but it's a big disease. Prince put that out there before he departed this world. Don't mess around and get the big disease with a little name. Okay, lasciviousness. This is important to every single part of your life. And I'm going to tell you why. Because lasciviousness is the failure to put on the brakes, meaning you don't know when to stop. You done this, you done hurt that, you done destroyed this, and you still working on something. What is wrong with you? You are suffering from lasciviousness. You don't know when enough is enough. You don't know when to put on the brakes. And there's some things you got to put the brakes on, because if you don't, you're going to crash into a wall. It's coming. It's coming. Keep it up. It's coming, okay? To stop and think, what am I really doing here? Look at what you're doing to people. And stop and think, what am I really doing here to myself and others? Because I got to pay for this. I can't really think in my right mind that I'm going to get away with all of this. And I'm going to go tipping off into the tulips or dancing to the bank or whatever. It's not happening, sweetie. It's not happening. You got to get a grip on it, okay? It ought to matter, since what we give out is coming back to us. And that's why it ought to matter. Being upfront, speaking your truth in love. Like I said, I ain't bashing nobody. I'm trying to enlighten somebody. I'm trying to help somebody. I'm trying to motivate somebody. And I'm doing it in love, okay? And honesty always prevails. You heard that song, I got to clean up what I mess up, and I got to stop being a liar, because a liar can't even make it through the front door. It's the truth. Honesty always prevails. So you can lie until kingdom come. But guess what? You're going to be found out. Your day is coming. There's a bigger liar out there that might start lying on you. Watch it. And then we ain't gonna jump into Jezebel today because that's a whole nother live for me to do because I got plenty of information on the Jezebel spirit. Matter of fact, I started the book. I haven't finished it yet, called The Modern Day Jezebel. Okay. The Jezebel spirit, sexual looseness in a woman teaching false doctrines, false ideas, false stuff. It's a cruel and sensuous, revolting spirit whose worship involves sexual degradation and lewdness. I saw a movie one night. It was on BET. I can't remember the name of it, and I'm glad that I can't because I got to be careful with that. But anyway, in the movie, there's with these two girls, right? And they were lesbians, okay? And I don't hate lesbians, okay? So let's get that straight from the get-go. I hate nobody. I love all human beings. I just wish people would get it right, okay? Now, this sexual degradation, I'm gonna give you a little picture of that. This colored girl was hanging out with this white girl. They went up to her crib. They decided to get sexual with each other. And the other one took the palm of her hand. They had been drinking at the club before they got up to the apartment. Okay. Took the base of her hand and put it on the other girl's head and literally smacked her head in between her legs with force. There was nothing pleasurable looking about that. There was nothing that looked like it felt good like that. That's like you just slapped my head into a wet, hairy area and mushed my face in it. This is sexual degradation when people will make you do acts that are animalistic, have no affection, no feeling in it. They're just using you like your head is a supply. Let me just smack your head in between my behind. Yeah, sexual degradation. That comes with the Jezebel spirit, okay? And lewdness, obsessive competition, and needing to domineering and controlling others, which always leads to a hideous end. And that's what people don't look at. They made a song in the 70s when I was coming along and having fun and boogalooing and everything. And the song was called The Beginning of My End. And folks, that's what I'm trying to get this message out to you. This stuff is not pretty. You're not getting away with it. You are going to answer. Are going to pay for the things you did. It's coming back to you, and it's coming back worse. So please stop it. It's not cute. Human beings are not your playground, baby. As some people used to say that I know, if you want a toy, go to Toys R Us, because I'm not Toys R Us. Don't come here trying to play with me. Okay? So jealousy is a terrible thing. Being a Jezebel is a nasty thing. Ain't nothing beautiful, kind, sweetly, and womanly about a woman that carries the Jezebel spirit. She's a piece of work. And I know because I worked in a woman's prison. I trained in the woman's house on Rikers Island in New York City. It don't get no bigger and better than that. And I told them after 1 month, if they didn't take me out of there, I was quitting. There's nothing pretty about a nasty mouth, nasty acting woman. You need to check yourself. He ain't taking you home to mama. He ain't taking you nowhere but to the dungeon where can't nobody see you but him. And then after that, he's going to discard you. There will be no diamonds, okay? So if you think you pretty, talking nasty, sounding foolish, hurting people, jealous, competitive, all of this, honey, stop it. That's all I can say. Please stop it. Jealousy, thoughts or feelings of insecurity, fear, and concern over a lack of possessions or safety. And you don't have to feel that way. Possessions take time. You look at people that got things now and you automatically feel like, oh, well, I want what she got. But you don't know how many years this person worked for this stuff. You don't know what hell and high water and fire they walked through to get what they got. You just can't become them overnight. You got to start like they did and work your way up, and you can have it too. You can have the same thing they got. And listen, a little bit is good. That means you got a blank canvas to build something just the way you want it, just how you want it, one step at a time. So don't despise small beginnings. That's like me. I don't get 100 views and, everybody, I got 4,000 friends and all this nonsense, because that's a bunch of nonsense. But let me tell you something. Never despise small beginnings, because small beginnings end up being large. It's patience and endurance. And if you reach one person with your message, not my message, your message, you've done something. And if you keep it up, you're going to be doing something more. So don't despise small beginnings, lack of possessions, and don't you feel unsafe because you don't know God. I don't walk around feeling afraid every day. What's going to happen is going to happen, but I have a foundation. I have faith in God. I believe he walks with me. He talks with me. He protects me. Okay. He fights my battles too. And I've seen him do it when I asked him. I know God is real. People can say whatever they want. But let's get back to jealousy. It can consist of one or more emotions, such as anger, which we know is no good. Go see a therapist. Get the anger out of you. Resentment. Stop resenting people because they had the courage to do it and you didn't do it yet. Doesn't mean you can't do it. You just didn't do it yet. Okay. Inadequacy. We all been inadequate at one point or another in our lives. Helplessness or disgusted. Who hasn't been disgusted? Everybody has at one point. Okay. Resentment, bitter indignation. You sitting there with a bitter indignation against somebody that ain't done nothing to you. You being like that to them just because they are who they are. Wow. Bitter indignation of having been treated unfairly. Well, guess what? Guess who ain't been treated unfairly? The whole America been molested. You ain't gone through nothing that a lot of other people haven't gone through, and you're definitely not alone, okay? It's a feeling of anger due to a real or imagined injury. Because I know people that imagine things and tell the story like it really happened to them and it never happened. They're looking for sympathy and somebody to get on their side in order. So they make up something that sounds horrible that you would just be gullible and eat it up. You got to be careful with that. You got people with big imaginations out here and delusions of grandeur. Okay. And or offense to express or exhibit displeasure, while hate is to dislike intensely. I hope you enjoyed this talk. I'm not going to go no deeper because I think I said a mouthful tonight. Okay. And I research my stuff. I get the correct definition, and you are more than welcome to go behind me and look up some of these words. Lasciviousness, the meaning of jealousy, resentment. Use your Google. That's what it's for. you know, and do your research. Listen to some clinical psychiatrists and some people. But anyway, like I said, my subject is always tight, y'all, but it's right. And it's right because I love you and because I want to see you do better, because I know you can do better. People who've been there know it. That's why I tell people, don't be messing with church folks. They wasn't always saved. Some of the biggest devils came out the street and came into church and got saved because the devil whipped their behind so bad they ran to God. And that's why, don't mess with church people, because they got the street over here and the power of God over here. So you getting two powers when you think you're going to mess with some church folks. I was always scared of church folks. I don't mess with them because I know they wasn't saved all their life. But until our next talk, you be cool, you be safe, you be you, and know what? You can be anything you want to be. And don't you forget that. Grace and peace. This is Sayuri.